Hey guys, welcome back to Team Death Slinger. My name is Peter, and today we're looking at Shroudmon. So starting with our eggs, we have one copy of BT16 Upamon. Opponent's turn, while this Digimon has 2 or more colors, it gains blocker. This is going to be great if we don't see our memory setter. We can guarantee that we have blocker on the Shroudmon. Next, 4 copies of BT6 BBmon. When attacking, if you have 3 security, gain 1 memory. It is a bit difficult to get there. We do have a Pulsemon that will help us, and the Shroudmon will also help us get there. But we do need the BBmon name for our Pulsemons. Next, 4 copies of BT16 Pulsemon. This will digivolve on top of BBmon for 0, and on play reveal top 4 of your deck. Add 1 card with Pulsemon in its text and 1 card with Abaddon Electronics trait, among them to your hand, the rest go bottom. And then the Inheritable will give you 1k DP while this Digimon has Pulsemon in its text. So this is effectively going to grab you any piece of the Shroudmon Pulsemon family, and then your Memory Setter Tamer. Next, we have 4 copies of Ukkomon. The colors in this deck are all over the place. This is going to help us find our pieces, find our tamers, and hopefully get a little bit of chip damage in so that we can kind of compete with the rest of the meta. If you don't know what this card does, when one of your Digimon moves from the breeding area to the battle area, reveal the top 3 cards. You can add a Digimon or Tamer, and then the rest go bottom. Then you hatch an egg in your breeding area. So that is pretty good for this deck. Next, we have 4 copies of the BT10 Pulsemon. This will also digivolve for 0 from BBmon. Opponent's turn, while you have 3 or fewer security, you gain blocker, so this is great to slam down if you really need to stop yourself from losing the game. Other than that, it doesn't do a whole bunch. Then we have 2 copies of BT6 Pulsemon. On play, you can trash cards from the top of your security until there are 3 left. Gain 1 memory for each security card trashed. You do want to be careful and make sure that you don't put yourself in lethal range for your opponent. And then the Inheritable says when you have 3 security cards, you gain jamming. Next, we are going 4 copies of BT16 Namakemon. It digivolves off of Pulsemon for 2 memory, which will be a theme for almost all of our level 4s. On play, when digivolving, if you have 3 or more security cards until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your Digimon can't have its DP reduced by your opponent's effects and isn't affected by de-digivolve effects. If you have 3 or fewer, one of your Digimon gains blocker and reboot until the end of your opponent's turn, and then this also gives a 1k DP boost. This will be great if we can play it out with one of our level 5s. We can get the immunity or we can get blocker reboot, so that is pretty strong. Then we have 4 copies of BT16 Runnermon. This also digivolves on Pulsemon for 2. On play, when digivolving, if you have 3 or more security cards, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, and if you have 3 or fewer, gain 1 memory with the 1k DP Inheritable as well. This is also generically good as a level 4 in this deck. Then I like 2 copies of BT8 Rapidmon. This has Armor Purge. When digivolving, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon for each Tamer you have in play. Then up to 3 of your opponent's suspended Digimon get minus 5k DP for the turn. This is a great champion because our rookie base is green and yellow. We do have a lot of cheap Tamers that we want to play in this deck, so this when digivolving effect can potentially be really great. If we have an Upamon underneath this, we get a blocker Armor Purge body, which we know is really strong. So I feel like this complements our level 4 base pretty well. Next, 2 copies of BT16 Pistmon. It digivolves for 3 on a green or yellow level 4, or a Digimon with Pulsemon in text for 3. On digivolving and on play, if you have 3 or more security cards, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon. That's kind of mediocre, but it can't unsuspend during your opponent's next unsuspend phase, which is really good. And then if you have 3 or fewer security cards, you gain 2 memory. So this can also help you accelerate yourself back into a Shroudmon stack if you are behind. End of attack, if this Digimon has a Pulsemon in its text, by trashing the top card of your security stack, unsuspend this Digimon. So extra aggression on the Shroudmon. Next, we have Climbmon. This is the main level 5 you want to see. It will digivolve for 3 on a purple or yellow level 4. More importantly, it will digivolve for 3 on a level 4 with Pulsemon in text. When digivolving, if you have 3 or more security cards, draw 2 and trash 1 card in your hand. That's going to help you find your pieces. If you have 3 or fewer, you can play a Digimon card with Pulsemon in its text and 6k DP or less from your trash without paying the cost. At the next end of your opponent's turn, delete it. So this is going to put an extra body on board. We can get the effects of any of our other level 5s or 4s, or the blocker inherit on the, the blocker effect on the Pulsemon if we need it. The end of attack inheritable is the same as the Pistmon as well. So this is a great level 5. Then 2 copies of Tempomon. On play, when digivolving, if you have 3 or more security cards, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4k until the end of their turn. If you have 3 or fewer, one of their Digimon gets security minus 2 till end of turn. Same inheritable. I feel like this was too good to pass up having 2 copies of, otherwise I would have just gone for Pistmon. The minus 4k DP kind of matters because Shroudmon has the potential to give minus 7k, so this gives you kind of an incentive if you're not behind to actually play this card by giving something minus 11k overall on your opponent's side of the board. It can clear out a lot of bodies, so I do like this card at 2. Then we have 2 copies of the ST17 Cherubimon. Digivolves for 4 on a green or purple level 5, so that is 6 of our 8 level 5s. It does have Alliance, and when Digivolving, you can delete 1 level 4 or lower Digimon. Then you may play 1 level 4 or lower green or purple Digimon card from your hand or trash without paying the cost, so this can play out our Rapidmons or our Runnermons. The Runnermon can then net us back 1 memory. We are going to run Alice in this deck, so that extra body can be useful, and it also synergizes with the Pulsemon here. Not Pulsemon, Climbmon. We have 4 copies of BT16 Shroudmon. When Digivolving, end of attack, if you have 3 or more security, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 7k DP for the turn. If you have 3 or fewer, delete one of their unsuspended Digimon. All turns when this Digimon would leave the battle area by an opponent's effect, if you have 3 or more security cards, by trashing the top card of your security, prevent it from leaving. On deletion, recover 1 until there are 3 cards in your security stack. So that effect is really good. It is kind of hard to get rid of, and it's going to bring you back up to a good amount of security when it dies. The minus 7k can be strong in conjunction with the Tempomon. When you have blocker on this, that minus 7k could really make a difference on your ability to stop a body from coming through. And then when you're behind, you get to delete an unsuspended Digimon. That is just really good on its own. We have 1 copy of Calling from the Darkness, just kind of enough purple that I want to be able to grab back my Climbmons, grab back my Shroudmons. So that is just kind of included in the deck. 4 copies of Thunderflame Crusher. While you have a Digimon or Tamer with Pulsemon in its text, you may ignore this card's color requirements when this card would be used by trashing cards from the top of your security up to having 3 left, reduce the cost by 2 for each card trashed. Delete one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. Then if you have 2 or fewer security, place this card at the bottom of your security. The security effect, however, is extremely strong. It gives one of your opponent's Digimon minus 15k DP. So having this at 4 just gives us a good chance of having this in security. Otherwise, when you're ahead, this has a really good chance to just pop a level 5 for 2 memory. And then you are at the 3 magic number that you need for the Shroudmon effects and some of your Pulsemon effects. So I do like this option quite a bit. 2 copies of the aforementioned Alice McCoy. When one of your Digimon would Digivolve from 5 to 6, you can delete one of your Digimon to reduce the cost by 3. So if you are behind, you make it into the Climbmon, you spit out a body with 6k DP or less, you can then pop that body to go for 2 into the Shroudmon, and then potentially pop a body, which I think is pretty good. It's also helpful if you get into the Cherubimon and you need to actually build back up into a second stack and you have that extra level 4 on board. You could get into the 5 and then pop the Cherubi and go back up your stack. There's just a lot you can do with it because of the ways that we play out extra bodies in this deck. 2 copies of Analog Youth. Again, there are lots of colors in this deck. We do need the search power, so this is going to reveal top 3, give you a Digimon, and it's going to fill your trash for your Climbmon plays as well. And then when a level 5 or higher dies, you can suspend the Tamer, gain a memory, hatch an egg, which is great as well. Lastly, 3 copies of Hacker Judge. You can play this card without paying the cost from security, and at the start of your turn, if you have 2 or less memory, set it to 3. Then it has Mind Link with one of your Digimon with Pulsemon in its text, which will give it blocker and barrier as long as Pulsemon is in its text. So that is going to be great underneath our Shroudmon. Having blocker, barrier, it just gets really hard to remove and can actually pay off when we trash our security for barrier. Once the Shroudmon finally dies, recovering us back up to 3. So that is it for the deck profile. It is a bit of a tricky cook here, lots of colors to work with, but this is the way I like the deck so far. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.